Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video we are going to set up the system for spawning our enemies. So let's dive right in. In your hierarchy, create a new empty game object. This is going to be our enemy manager. And let's reset those transformations. We also need to create game objects that are going to serve as the positions for where these enemies are going to spawn. We can have more or less depending on how you want to create your game. I'm just going to start, I'm going to create an empty game object and we'll go from there. So I'm going to call this my seeker spawn, and I'm going to add a label to this so I can just see where it's at in the scene view. Something like that. And then with that I can go and place it where I want it to be. I'm just going to put it up over here, kind of off at the corner of the screen. And I'm going to duplicate it. Let's make another one kind of in that area as well. And then on the enemy manager, I need to add an enemy manager script. I'm going to go and create that in my scripts folder. And let's apply that to that enemy manager. And get that opened up. And so the variables we need for our enemy manager are a public game object for our enemy to spawn. I want a public float for the start time. This is how much time it's going to take before we start spawning enemies. So like 2, that's pretty good. Another float for the spawn time. This is going to be the time in between enemies getting spawned. And I'll make that a little bit longer for 3. And then finally a public transform array for the spawn points. Instead of update down here, I want a method called spawn. This is going to get an integer called spawn point index. It's going to equal a random range between 0 and the length of spawn points. So spawn points dot length, and then we will instantiate a enemy to spawn at the spawn points, spawn point index dot position, as well as the spawn points spawn point index dot rotation. And let's get that in the right spot. Okay, so when we call spawn, it is going to get a random number from all of the possible spawn points. So if there's 3 of these, it'll pick one of those. It'll go from 0 to 2. And then it will spawn an enemy at that position, at that rotation. So if this randomly got 1, it would go transform 1. It would be the second spawn point in that list. And it would make an enemy at wherever that location is. So to get this moving, to get it started in the start method, we're going to use a method called invoke repeating. This will repeatedly call a method. It'll wait the first amount of time, which is going to be our start time, and then it will repeat we're going to put in our spawn time. So the method we're going to call, we have to put it in parentheses, is called spawn. We just made that down there. We're going to start it after start time, and we will repeat every spawn time. So let's save that, head back over to the Unity editor. We need to set up a lot of this stuff. So the enemy manager has an enemy manager script. This first one, I need to tell it my enemy to spawn. And I have seeker spawns here, so let's drag the seeker enemy from the project, that prefab, onto that box. And then the spawn points here, I need to drag these points. I'm going to do it one at a time into my spawn points. And so we'll add them to that array there. And so what's going to happen is when I hit play, actually, sorry, I need to get rid of the enemies that are already in my game. When I hit play, it should wait a little bit. And then let's look up here. Let's go. I can even move over there. It's going to randomly start putting those guys in there. And so it's kind of switching back and forth between those. I'm letting them kill me, but we can watch them happen. That every 3 seconds, 2, 3, then another one starts going, and sometimes it goes from this spawn point, sometimes it goes from that spawn point. And so to continue this out, I can add another enemy manager to this enemy manager game object. And like for this one, I can add my wanderer to be the enemy to spawn. I can have these spawn more often, less often. I can have them wait a little bit longer before it starts to create them. I can make new spawn points for them. This would be a wanderer spawn. I can make that one like green or something so we can see those. And I could set these all over the map. I'm just duplicating. So if I want to do this all at one time in my enemy manager, and if I have 9 points to choose from, then that's really tedious to drag one at a time. So what I can do is in the inspector with my enemy manager selected, I can lock the inspector here. There's a little lock button there. I can go and grab all of those guys. This still has my enemy manager up. So I clicked on the first one, shift clicked on the last one. And now I can drag all these to that spawn points. But when you're all done, just make sure to unlock your inspector. Otherwise it gets really confusing later. So make sure you unlock that. And now when I play, I'm going to spawn some... I don't know where they're going to come from now. So there's a seeker coming after me. There's a wanderer. So they're already coming at me. And this is already getting to be a pretty intense game since I'm not shooting back. There we go. Alright, so that's the plan. We make an enemy manager. We have an enemy manager script. For each of your enemies, you can add a new script to this object. And you can spawn whatever enemy at whatever points you want to and however often you want. Going further with this, in the next video, we're going to set up the score and score multipliers. Eventually we'll increase our difficulty as we shoot more bad guys. We can wipe the board when we die. There's a whole lot more to do. But in the next video, we will be working on the UI and getting our score multiplier working. So we'll see you then.